thing.
Hi, this is Wendy from Sunflower Publishing, and I am so excited today to meet the lovely, the delectable Rachael Martin.
Thank you.
Our paths have crossed a few times over the years. She doesn't live in my neck of the woods. She lives up north in Milan, as we did in England. She was from Yorkshire and I was from Lancashire. So really it's kind of following the same theme here. She's up north and I was somewhere below her. But anyway, let me introduce you. Um, Originally from Yorkshire, as we've said, Rachel arrived in Italy over 25 years ago and fell in love with the country of Italy, its mountains, and its walks. She loves nothing more than sharing her Italian world with others, whether it's the joy and freedom of being up a mountain, the history of castles along Lake Como sounds wonderful, or sitting in a cafe or a bar and watching the world go by. My kind of girl. She loves to go beyond the stereotypes to really bring out Italy in all its complexity, whilst mixing in the everyday. Rachel is a regular contributor to travel magazines. She lives with her husband and her two young, not young boys, they were, but they're not now, teenagers, just north of Milan near Lake Como. And I've got a couple of books, but the one that I'd really like to talk about today is Rachel's latest, which I put on Substack as Walking In, and then I realized it wasn't in Italy, it was just Walking Italy. So changed it all. So welcome, Rachel.
Hi, Wendy. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning then. Snapshots of your life. Where did you meet husband and how did you end up shipping to up to Lake Como?
Well, I actually came to Italy before I met my husband because I did an English degree in Manchester. And then I finished university. This was 94, and I was kind of like I didn't really know what I was going to do. I did I did some teaching English, basic skills, that kind of thing. And then somehow I ended up, I decided I wanted to go travel, as you do when you're like 21. And so I did a TEFL course because I thought that would be the key get to Europe and get to be able to do it. Because I knew that I wanted to go to Europe. It was kind of like a choice between Italy or Spain. And the year before I graduated, another year I graduated, yeah, because my best friend was doing a languages degree. So she'd gone to Spain and France because she did your third year abroad at that time. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's changed now.
yeah. I bet you still
Um,
do actually, yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can
so,
imagine that.
yeah.
And so she was in Alicante. So I went and joined her in Alicante. And then we got a train up and we ended up in the south of France because she knew this family in France. And then we went to Paris and we were just like, and I saw her life, I think, in Spain. And I thought, I want to do this. So I graduated with this idea. Um, and then it took me a couple of years to get it didn't take me a couple of years to get the TEFL. I kind of got sidetracked because I went back to live in Leeds. And so it was the 90s and it was just really, really lively and, just really amazing. So, and then I did my TEFL certificate and I worked in an Italian restaurant.
Oh,
And that's when I can remember even as maybe as near as like 5 years ago, and I'd be saying to my husband, "What's that song? What's that song?" Because I could remember it because they used to play all the like Italian singer songwriters in the restaurant. And I met this guy, and he told me he was Italian, and he told me about the job that was going in Lecco, which is on Lake Como. So I applied for this job in Lecco, and there was a job in Murcia in Spain as well. And it was literally a case of going to the travel agents at that time because, internet was like really new thing. And looking at the brochures, and I saw Lake Como, and I thought, Oh wow, I want to go see that.
Mm.
So I did, and I got on a plane. It was January the 6th, which, as you'll know, here is like the Festa de
Cold.
la Befana. So it's
Oh
like the
yeah,
Good
of
Witch.
course,
So
yeah.
I always say to the kids, like, oh yeah, Mum arrived with a Befana, and then like, anyway, because Mum is
On a plane, not a
yeah, on a
broomstick.
plane, not on a broomstick, on a
We hasten
plane.
to add.
But they just think it's quite funny because it's like, and this is the mother who used to forget all the Befana sweets and that, but still, I came with the Befana on a plane from Manchester Airport. Yeah, and then by the time the year had ended, I'd met my husband, and actually, I met him. I met him because I went to this club near Brescia with some of his friends. And so I'd met his friends, and then I met him, and he was like just like the really nice one of the group. And he said to me, "If you want to go walking, then ring me." Because I just got a mobile phone. I mean, this was back in '98. When I got here, I was still ringing my mum on the phone box and saying, "Mum, can you ring me back?"
Yeah,
Just to, it seems mad today because we're all here with
I
our
know, I know, I know.
it's just so it's crazy. Yeah, so I gave him a ring and we went walking and actually that night I had to go out with another friend and he was actually a male friend, but it was just a friend. So he wasn't very happy about that. But yeah, that's how I met him and then I just stayed. I just never went back. I mean, obviously I went back to visit, but I just stayed here.
Take me back to before that when you were walking in the Yorkshire Dales. I feel that you, Rachel, and walking are kind of synonymous here. So
Yeah.
walking. So when if someone said to me, "Do you want to go walking?" I'd no, me walking. I don't think so. You don't know me. So but you'd already done that, hadn't you? Walking in the Yorkshire
Yeah,
Dales.
I
It
grew
was.
I
It
grew up
was
walking because it's what my mum and dad did. So
right.
we'd go on holidays to kind of like wild places because I've got this thing about wild places as well. So we
Yeah.
went to Scotland a few times,
Right.
and this was when I was really little. I mean, I must have been about 6. But we had a caravan.
Right.
And so we used to go to the Yorkshire Dales because it was near, because we were like in Wakefield near Leeds. And we used to go a lot. And I can always remember that my happiest moment was walking in the Dales. And I'd always be in front, like I knew where to go, and I'd be like in front of everybody else. And as I was walking, I used to make up stories in my head. And
Oh.
so I'd be walking along and because I was one of those kids that just, I always read loads. I mean, I was really advanced reader and I think I'd read like most of Jane Austen, Jane
Mm.
Eyre, that kind of thing by the time I was about 11. I mean, I don't think I really understood it. Now I think back, but I was always a bookworm, always
Reading.
into books.
Right. Right.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, it was just I've always really, really loved walking, and I can remember I've got distinct memories of when I was young, and it was kind of my like happiest place, and I was
Right.
walking
So
along.
when this guy said, "Do you want to go walking?" So that's really where the walking in Italy would have
That was the
started.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was the connection.
yeah, and it
Right.
still is the
Right.
connection.
Yeah.
Because we used to, because I was like, it was quite funny actually, because I was living near Milan, but actually I never really went to Milan. Because if you look at a map, you've kind of got Lake Como like that, and Lecco's the eastern side. And then there's the Superstrada, the motorway that goes all up the side of Lake Como. So my life was kind of from Lecco up to the Valtellina, up to Valchiavenna, up to Livigno, which is like in the north. Um, and on the Swiss border, like we used to go up to San Moritz, and then we used to go up to the mountains above Lecco, and that's actually where my husband took
Right.
me walking the first
Right.
time. And so it was a real skiing in the winter, walking in the summer. It was a real outdoors life. I mean, one of the first times I went walking with my husband and his friends. Not maybe one of the first times anyway, but I think it was the first summer we were together because we kind of got together around Christmas '98. So I mean, by the end of the year, I mean, my first year we were together. And I remember we sat off and I was with some of his friends. I was always the only girl because like they didn't have girlfriends. I mean, they got girlfriends later and stuff, but I was always like with all these Italian
How
men, boys.
nice.
We were all in our 20s anyway. And I remember standing at the bottom of this
I
mountain.
wouldn't complain about
No,
that.
I know. Standing at the bottom of this mountain, he gave me this rucksack. I've actually written about it. It's in the introduction to my walk in Italy because this was like one of the, because we were going to camp up the mountain and I'd never camped up a mountain before. And so I had this, he gave me this rucksack and it had this like big Damigiana, this big 1.5 litre bottle of wine, or even bigger than that. I can't remember. And I just looked at him, I was like, I'm not carrying that. And he says, well, we need to take it up the mountain. Can't you carry it? I was like, no, I can't carry it. Because we it was kind of like walking up steps at one point.
Right,
I mean
right.
it's actually in Valley Spluga, which is in the book, and which is the Via Spluga, which comes down for Switzerland. And I wanted to include it because I spent lots of time up there. So that was the first time I slept up a mountain, I think, in a tent, and then we'd go off on his motorbike and we'd go. I mean, I can remember sleeping up mountains, and at the time you could just pitch a tent anywhere.
Can you
And
do that now? You can't do that now.
no, no, there's
No.
I'd have to I'd have to look it up, but you can't. There are rules. I mean, we used to go over the border to Switzerland, and I can remember like we just
Oh,
pitched this t tent in the
oh,
middle of nowhere, and we didn't have any milk. We needed milk. I can't remember why we needed milk. 'Cause it's not very, oh no, sugar or something for coffee. It was something to do with coffee that we needed. And we just went and knocked on this woman's door, and this woman gave us what we needed. I'd have to check with my husband because he'll probably remember. But it was just like going, we were always off and we were always walking, we were always in the mountains, whether it was winter or summer. It was always that kind of life also because he had a group of friends. You know what it's like in Italy. They have the group of friends, the compagnia, and it tends not to change throughout people's lives. These are, they're like lifelong
mhm.
friendships.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean it was really being immersed in this world. And then of course we had kids and it changes slightly then, but as the kids have got older, we've gone back to it.
What made you now, at this point in your life, oh, got the wrong way, decide to write the book?
It was
Can I just,
when,
before you say anything,
mm,
can I just read? It's the blurb that I've used on my in my review
right,
because generally I walk to my car. That's about as far as I go
okay.
when I'm walking. So at first I thought, oh, walking Italy. Is that you there at the is
No, that's not me.
that
People ask if it's me, it's not me.
and I thought, oh, walking. Okay, well, yeah, why not? I'll give it a whirl. But it says, and this is great, this
I'm gonna
is a
read it.
book about walking that's not necessarily for walk. Did you write this?
Yeah, I wrote this, yeah.
For walkers. It's for those who love walking and go regularly. Great. For those of us who enjoy a walk, followed by lunch or dinner in a medieval piazza, or a night in a cosy B&B, or prefer to enjoy the journey from the comfort of our own living room, that would be me. So I just thought, do you know what? A book about walking that's not necessarily for walkers. I think you've got all angles covered here because, I did sit down to read it and I say in my review, and I won't do that here probably now, but the way that you've structured this book into the different regions, and within the different regions, you've got places to eat, places to walk, places to stay, places to see. You have packed everything into this book.
Thank
It's
you.
really, really beautiful.
Thank
And it
you.
would appeal to, well, to anybody, to any age, I think, really. So tell me how this little book started its
It
life.
was when I was okay, so after COVID, the first 2 years we decided to take the kids back to the mountains because before that we'd been going to Spain because my family had a house down there, and we'd spent a lot of time in the UK, and with COVID everything kind of changed as we know. So the first And it was also because the rules here were always different to the rules in the UK.
Yeah.
So it was like nothing was ever the same, nothing was ever
No.
coordinated. So we missed a few years in the UK for that reason because I got two teenage boys and I was just like, if we have to, no, I just don't want to end up having to go in quarantine with two teenage boys. It was just like, yeah,
Hell.
like that when I was like, no,
Hell
I
on
am
earth.
not doing that. So we stayed here and we went to we had like two separate weeks in the mountains and we did that for 2 years. And then I kind of had this idea, well, why don't we just rent somewhere for the summer? Because actually, daft as it sounds, it's more or less the same cost.
Yeah.
People think that it costs a lot more, but actually it doesn't. It depends. Obviously, it depends when you go where you go. I mean, if you're going to go to the Dolomites, then you can expect to spend
I
enough,
love, yeah,
to
sure.
spend a fortune. But the places that we were going were places that we'd been before. So for me, it was kind of like because we went that first summer in Valle Spluga, and we went to a place called Fraciscio, which is above Campodolcino. And for me, it was kind of like going, because the thing is, I came to Italy when I was 24. So I had like kind of my youth, because I had my kids later when I was in my 30s. So I had kind of like my youth in the UK, and then I had my youth in Italy. So it was kind of like going back to my youth, because we used to go to Fraciscio, we used to go to Campodolcino, we used to go up to the Spluga, Pass the Spluga Pass, because there's a village up there called Monte Spluga. And then the year after, so we spent our first summer up there, and then the year after we rented somewhere in Medesimo, which is where it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, I think it's very Milanese in the sense that lots of people from round where we live go up there, and it was quite nice because the kids had school friends who went up there, and so they were there with their school friends as well. And it was during those 2 summers where I'd sit outside this bar. It's up at Monte Spluga on the Via Spluga up in Valle Spluga at the pass, just before you get to the pass and you go down into Switzerland. Um, and it was then that I just started, it kind of just captured my imagination, the idea that this had been um, a a pass that had gone. Sorry, someone's just walked past
It's all
there.
right. It's all right.
Um, so that this had been a pass that people had been coming over
Yeah.
and that it had the history. And I kind of like we were up there one night when it was quite cold and a bit bleak and stuff. So, because I mean, it's great going up these mountains passes when it's sunny and it's clear
Yeah. But
skies
when the weather's, yeah.
and the weather
Sounds
can.
like Derbyshire on a foggy day where the
Oh yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Like
foggy
Yorkshire when the fog comes
yeah,
in and it's
foggy
really quite
sense of
grim and you
nowhere,
can't,
and you
you
think,
know, you
oh,
can't see
where
anything.
are we?
So that's basically where it came from. And it was walks that I'd either done, places that
Yeah.
I'd visited. And also I kind of like I wrote for me as well because I
Yeah.
wanted to bring it all together. And I
Yeah.
wanted it to be, I mean, as you can see, it's only really small. So the kind of book that you can just put into your rucksack
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
with
I think
you.
that's a really, really great marketing. I
And you
think
just
too.
you
Yeah.
just you don't have this great big thing. And also obviously I mean you can put it on your phone, you can put it on Kindle or whatever. But yeah, that's where the idea came from. And it was also a way of rediscovering places that I had visited but I was going back to. But the whole thing about the you can read it from your own home, I felt that that was really important because
Yeah.
during COVID I became really aware of this when people couldn't travel.
Yeah.
And it was kind of taking Italy into people's own homes because I think it's great writing a book about Italy, writing a book about walking through Italy, but also there are people that are not going to be able to do that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was kind of
But
I
it's
want,
still nice to know that there's going to
yeah,
be an antiques market on, the third Sunday of the month or something like that. I mean, I can't begin to imagine how much research you had to do to put this book together. Because I mean, you traipse through an awful lot of different regions here.
yeah, it was, and I mean it's always kind of I don't want to say easier. But because I mean, I'm kind of bilingual by now, so a lot of my sources are in Italian.
Yeah.
And I literally just, I mean, I'll go to my local library, just go online, order all the books for a region that I want, and then I'll go to the
Right.
library and just come back with a massive pile of books and just start looking through them and finding what I want and what I want to use and stuff. Because that was another side that was really wanting to bring out the fact that these are walks, but there's loads of history in there of like the
Yeah.
people and the
It's
places.
made me think I would like to go on one of these.
Well, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
and that's really something for me, like I say, because I'm not really a walking person. But oh, I can't remember. I put it in the review. There's a place, oh God, which region was it? And it's like Little Venice. They call it Little Venice. And you can go up and down the canal, and you've got, I mean, the pictures are just absolutely beautiful in this book. They really are. Um, and you're sort of thinking, oh wow, to have a view like that. And I can't remember even which region. Would it have been Umbria, Emilia Romagna? I can't remember. But you just sort of think, well, wow, that looks absolutely amazing. I mean, I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to choose one. I mean, that is just what you imagine Italy that would,
Yeah,
would
yeah, it
look
is.
like, the
That's
Tuscany.
Tuscany. Yeah.
But I mean, the local food. I, 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 I know a reasonable amount about food in Italy, but you just blow me away with the stuff that well, in the Middle Ages, they wouldn't have eaten that. They would have eaten this, and it would have looked like this. And really? Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So having wanted the walking, yeah, living in Italy, and
Mm.
you've done these walks, how then can you get this published? What route to publication? Who do you know that was going to publish this for you? How do you,
Well, I already had a publisher.
right,
'Cause I work with a publishing company. Uh,
right,
so because I've got my first book that I did for them, which was this came out
Milan,
after COVID.
right,
And this was completely different. I mean, this was the Lover's Guide to Milan. And when I was writing this, it was kind of like, because I think with the fact that you've got all this information online. My question when I started writing this, right, well, what can I put in this book which is going to make it stand up against the fact that you can get all the information. Well, you can't get all the information, but you can go online and you can read about
mm,
stuff.
mm,
So what I literally did was I did the history of Italian
mm,
fashion through
mm,
this book.
mm,
So it starts off with the history of the fashion shows after the war. So you've got the fashion shows which were starting in Florence, and then it starts to come up to Milan. And then you've got all the story of the Italian dressmakers, the Sarte as they were called, and that
it's
kind of thing. Oh, you've got that one as well. Oh, brilliant. So yeah, so
I love this. I love this book. I mean, you don't. Milan's completely so different, isn't it? Really, and
yeah, completely different. I love
I'm
Milan.
sure I wrote a blog on it. What I can't remember why I even thought, why did these designers ship up to Milan anyway? What did Milan have? And it's all in here. And not only, and it's very similar, your format, you really kind of dig deep into,
Yeah,
well, if you go to this museum, round the corner is an amazing restaurant. And at this restaurant, they serve this type of food or that type of food. You pack a punch with your books. You
thank
really
you.
do. And you'd think, oh, Fashion Lover's Guide to Milan, oh, that'll just be the women. Not necessarily,
No.
because you've got eat and drink, piazzas, the Duomo, the shopping, the culture. You have everything in these books.
Yeah, well, the idea was that I wanted it just to be in one guide. So it wasn't
Yeah,
just about fashion.
yeah,
Like if
right,
I mean,
yeah,
obviously it is about
about
fashion,
fashion.
but kind of like if you're in Milan and I know that there's a really good museum around the corner, then I've told you that because
Yeah.
I don't. because I mean, we know what it's like when you go around. You don't want like six books with you. You kind of want one and
But it,
have it
there
all
is
there.
everything in these, and I
Mm,
think the way that you present these books, I mean, you've got two under your belt now. I mean, it's going to be so exciting to see the next one. And so, just talk us through then. So you've got an Italian husband, kids, all the rest of it. How did that square up with the writing, finding a publisher, and because if you were teaching, that's a completely different thing.
yeah.
How did all that come together?
Well, basically, I was teaching here until I had my kids. And then I had two kids, one after the other. So they've got like 17 months between them. So I was teaching at a school because by that time I got into the school system and I'd got a job with directly with a school because before I was working with private language
Mm.
schools. So this was like a liceo, a grammar school that I was working for. Um, and I mean, I had these two little boys, and I just decided, right, I'm just going to stay home for a bit now because it was
And
just.
there's one of them behind you.
There's one of them behind me. Yeah, I didn't realize it's going to be on the video. But
Yes, she
but yeah,
really does have a family.
oh yeah, I do have kids. Um, so yeah, it was kind of like I just decided to stay at home for a bit because because I don't think people are necessarily aware, but the school system over here, I mean, they were going to school at really random. They don't go to school from 9 till 3. So some days they go from 8 till 1, 8:30 till 1. Some days they go from 8:30 till 4. It was kind of like I didn't actually have a lot of choice to stay at home in that sense because it was really difficult finding childcare. It was
Mhm.
they don't have a childminders system like you do in the UK. I mean, I'll never forget sitting on Filey Beach, I think it was, with some friends from the UK, and they'd got young children. And they were like, "Oh yeah, well, I've
A
looked at the child."
childminder. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
gosh, this is completely different. So yeah, I mean, I just stayed at home with them. And then I'd gone back to work for a year, um, in a school, but I knew that that wasn't where I was going. I knew that, I mean, I could do it, and people said I was good at it, but my heart kind of wasn't in it because I always felt like the world was happening outside. Absolutely no offense to anybody who's in education, that was just my personal feeling. And also, as they were getting older, I was realizing that I could go back. I mean, older, they were about 6 and 7 at this time. I was realizing that I could go back to that girl who arrived in Italy and was getting on and off trains and going around. Because all the time this mountain stuff was going on with my now husband, I was still going off with like English friends that I knew, and we were getting this train to Florence, and we were going off and do, I was seeing things. So yeah, so I did 1 year and then I started writing because I knew I'd always wanted to write, but I'd always felt that I had nothing to write about. And now I was living in Italy, so I kind of did have something to write about. And I started writing about Italy because I wanted to write, but also because it was a way of, after the baby years, it was a way of reconnecting with the place.
Right.
And I really, really enjoyed it because I was back. I mean, it was a bit of it was a real juggle. I mean, I was so lucky because there was a mum at the school and she would have both of them. Because I don't
Oh.
know if you've been through this, Wendy, but if you've got one child, people, yeah, 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 I'll have him. If you've got two,
Yeah, they
they're
don't
like,
want to know.
and two lively boys are kind of like, hmm. No, nobody's knocking on your door to look after them.
No,
Put it this
no.
way. So yeah, so that kind of started there. And then it was so by this time it was what, 2014, then 2016 I decided to go for it, and I did a pitching course to sell work as to magazines and newspapers and stuff. And that was really good. And that was how I got my first book contract. So I
Right.
just started writing, selling work, writing as, as a job kind of thing. And I got my first book contract, which was The
Right.
Fashion Lover's Guide to Milan, which took me a while to
Same
write because
publisher of both. Is
it's
it?
Pen and Sword.
Is it a
This is
different?
under the White Owl
Oh, that's
imprint.
White
This is it.
Owl. Is
Yeah,
that
but they're
White
under Pen and
Owl? Oh,
Sword.
White. Yeah, right,
Which I love the fact
right,
because they're also in
right,
Yorkshire, which is
right,
lovely.
right.
So it's kind of like that link as well. And I've just been really, really lucky because I'm working with a publisher who I also get on really well. It's a really lovely place to work, and I get on really well with them as well. And also it's kind of nice because it's that link with Yorkshire. So yeah, so I did that, and then I started to write my Walking in Italy. I've just got one I've got the final proofs to correct. Can't say what it is yet, but I've got the final proofs to correct, and then that will be going off to the publishers. I've got a couple more contracts with them to write other things which aren't necessarily Italy related. Um, but I just think I've been lucky. I think I was kind of like in the right place at the right time in that sense.
Are you where you want to be in life now, then?
Yeah,
Say,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I mean, if you've got these wonderful things that you do, like the walking, the writing, and you can combine, those hobbies, it
yeah.
seems to me that you're very lucky in life, that
Oh
you,
yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, when I first came out, and I'm thinking, yeah, books, Italy, yeah, what can I
yeah,
do with that? Yeah, what? And then I just thought, well, maybe if I just reviewed, if I gave myself a niche and just reviewed books
yeah.
set in Italy, then that could be any genre, and I'm thinking, yeah, right, you just, it sort of evolves in a way, doesn't it? But I think if
Totally.
you
Yeah.
have a passion for something, somehow it has a way to draw you in somehow, and you can do this. Hi.
You just walk past. Yeah, it's almost like the stars kind of align in a way,
Yeah, yeah,
and you can.
it's written in the star.
Yeah, and it's kind. I mean, I've kind of like I've tried to plan things. I don't know if you've ever done this, Wendy. And however much you try to plan, it's gonna go its own way anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
If that makes sense. And that's
absolutely.
kind of what's happened. And like with the books, like I've got future books that I'm going to be writing, and they're kind of like something completely different that I would
Right.
never thought. But I mean I can't say what they are obviously yet.
Are you moving out of non-fiction? Will
No,
you,
no,
you're
it's
going,
still
right, right,
non-fiction.
okay, okay,
But it's completely different. It's not Italy basically. They're not Italy related,
right,
but they're all to do with place, and they've all got some kind of not necessarily travel books, but they've all got some kind of significance like throughout my life.
right.
I mean, obviously I can say
Yeah,
that
no, no, honestly, don't
as they
reveal
come
any
out, but
secrets. Yeah,
it's they've all got kind of a link, and they're all books that I've wanted to write, and books
right,
that have taken me back. They either take me back to a time, or they take me back to um I mean, one of them takes me back to when I was doing my A levels. Do you know what I mean? And I was really interested in certain things. So it's kind of like how everything. I kind of feel like sometimes things happen in life, and it might not have a relevance at that moment, but it will
yeah,
come
but
back later.
absolutely.
And I think I've just read a really good book about midlife. But I can't remember the title because I'm midlife and I can't remember titles. But
Dementia.
I can let you have it if you want to put it in a notes or something. It's Jenny Knight's book.
All right,
And it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Actually, it's on my Kindle, so I will find it. And there's a wonderful quote at the beginning of this book about it's a Carl Jung quote, and it's A Wild Moon Rising by Jenny Knight. And it's about a woman in midlife, and I just really identified with all of that. Because the beginning is a quote by Carl Jung. I'll just see if I can find it because it just kind of summed it all up. How you spend the first where is it? It's here. You spend the first well, it doesn't. He doesn't actually mention the first part, but how you embark upon the second half of life, but we cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. And I think there's also something in this same quote about how you spend. I've read something as well about how you spend your first part of your life, and you're trying to do things and achieve things and the family and all that kind of thing. And then the second part of your life is finding the meaning. And I feel, as far as my writing is concerned, it's like my first talk, because I mean, I'm 52 now, so I was 52 years ago, and that was kind of a watershed, because you're 50 and you realize, I realize that
No,
I'm not 40 anymore. I don't have the energy left.
milestone.
It did, yeah,
Well,
it was a
let
milestone.
me let me tell you a secret. When you get into
Mm.
60, it's even worse.
But you have fun though, don't you? I always kind of get the impression that you have fun.
That's I think that's why, and it's nice in a way when you retire because you have a bit more time on your hands, and
Yeah,
yeah, and you're at the next stage. I mean, I, like I say, I'm just quickly going back to the walking. I've seen so many of these wonderful documentaries about people who've done the Santiago thing in Spain, and that's really well known, and people do
yeah.
it. I'm
My
thinking,
husband wants to do that. He says we're
oh,
going.
really? And I thought, wow, they're mad, but I still admire the
Yeah.
way that they do this. And you talk about the Italian version, which is an awful lot longer than the Santiago Trail, really. The Camino the Walk of the Gods.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, there's the one that
And it
comes through
goes all the way
Italy.
down to Sicily. It goes all the way down. I didn't know any of this. It's been such an eye-opener that you could do something, walk that far.
Yeah, I actually stop in Rome.
Yeah,
I did that
yeah,
deliberately
yeah,
because
yeah.
um
There's a book two somewhere. There's a book two.
there's, yeah, no, but exactly, there's a book too somewhere, exactly. Because, and I think I can't remember if I said that at the end. I think I said that. Yeah, I do actually.
You do
I mentioned it in the
mention, yeah,
ending,
you do, you
because
did,
it's
yeah,
where
yeah.
it's not only where the let me find it. I'm terrible with names at the moment. Via Francigena,
You
which is the
talk
most famous
about
route
beyond Rome. That is the last
beyond Rome. That is the last.
beyond Rome,
Yeah, because
and you took. Go on. You talk
all
about,
these, sorry, all these routes were coming down to Rome, which was obviously,
yeah.
Rome was
Oh,
the
well,
first
yeah.
of the
Sure,
pilgrimages. This is where people
sure.
were going. Although admittedly, some would go then down to the ports in Bari and Puglia, and then they go across to the Holy Land. So I stopped it in Rome because it just felt like a natural conclusion,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
also because a lot of my experience is Rome North.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but the second book is when the kids are a lot older. Well, not a lot older. I mean, we're talking about possibly a couple of years. And my husband and I, we can actually go down to the south
Yeah,
of Italy and explore all this,
absolutely.
and then I can do book two. So in that sense, it's kind of like I feel like there's been a watershed, because I've done all this before. I'm writing about it all. And then, obviously, I mean, I'm going off and I've got press trips, books and stuff and that kind of thing. Um, and it's kind of like you get into phase two, and I'm thinking, right, well, we'll do this and we'll do this and we'll go here and I'll write about this. And I love maps. And my kids have got
Mhm.
this map in their bedroom of Italy. Sorry, I keep coughing. I'll just have a bit of coffee. And I spend a lot of time looking at that map. And it's like it's the ideas start to take shape. In fact, when I start writing a book, there's always maps all over the kitchen, because it's
You mention Molise, Puglia. I mean, for me, I've got Abruzzo, then we go down into Molise, then we've got Puglia.
yeah,
And then, I don't really know the other side too much. And you mention the transhumancer, which is something that's very prevalent in my region where
Yeah.
they move you can, as a visitor, as a walker, you can join in and you go on these where they move the animals and you go for the hikes with them.
Yeah, it's a
And
big thing, isn't it, Dan? Yeah.
yeah, and that looks absolutely amazing. And the mountains that people climb. These ways tell different stories of other places and people, stories to be kept for another day. So I think,
You think
I'm
who's
thinking,
going to
well,
write
well, the
that?
next one, please send me the. Why have you not signed it for me? I'm so disappointed. Where's your signature?
Oh,
To
sorry.
Wendy
Yeah.
with love.
I'll come and visit you one day, Wendy. I promise. I'll sign both your books.
And I just thought, well, when that one comes out, I mean, I would absolutely love to be part of that one as well, and review it because
Yeah.
it's an absolute joy. And on that note, I'll let you go. You've probably got to cook some lunch for your sons or something. It's coming up to
Yeah,
Mezzogiorno.
I do. It'll be mum. Is there any food? Like, are you going to make any food?
I mean, it's been absolutely lovely, and you're from Yorkshire and I'm from Lancashire, Wars of the Roses, but they
Yes,
did finally get together,
they did.
didn't
Yeah.
they? And there is and I've been watching because I know, Bronte Country and stuff like that. And you said that your favorite book was Wuthering Heights. So I
Yeah,
did
it
a bit of
was. Yeah.
research on that, and I have been up there. I have seen the house, the vicarage where, and I'm
Beats
sure
the Moors.
the
The Moors. I
moors.
absolutely
Yeah,
love the Moors.
the Yorkshire moors. And
Yeah.
what can I say? Please, please write another one about walking because even I will do one of these, and I'll one of these walks. I'll let you know when I do it. I'm
You
going to buy
can just
some
do
walking boots.
this.
I'm going to get some walking boots and
Oh,
start.
send me a picture when you do. With you on, with them on. Before you've got them on and you're going walking.
Yeah, these boots are made for walking.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
really spurred me on to do some walking.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
what better place than, I mean, I look at the Apennines out of my
Yeah.
kitchen window in the Gran Sasso. Yeah, so you've really spurred me on to walk. So thank you for that. Thank
Thank you for
you for your
inviting
time
me.
today. It's been a blast. I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's been lovely. I've really enjoyed it.